Okay, welcome back to the workshop. I believe this is video 5, and this is just going to be a couple quick things I'm discovering really early into my layout and frame process. First of all, use of this rosin paper is fantastic. Roll it out so the roll is on top. Just lay down the roll here and so you can roll it across the table. First I tried using painter's tape. That proved to be a pain in the butt. Now I'm just using clamps, and like the old saying goes, you can never have too many clamps in your workshop. So this seems to be easier. I am using a drywall T-square. Yes, I double checked it against an engineer's square and trued it up a little bit. Mine's adjustable. It's a good quality square. Great for laying out lines across the table here. However, I think it would be really nice, and I'm not going to run out and spend the money on this, but I think it'd be nice to have a really nice longer straight edge, either what they call a story stick or a longer flat ruler without the squared off head at the top to lay out long lines, and even some of these diagonal frames, which makes it easy. So something to keep in mind if you have a yardstick or something like that. That'd make life nice. I don't happen to have one handy. I suppose I could just rip something on the table saw. We'll see what I do. I will figure that out. I have had in my workshop for a long time this. This is a modern bevel gauge. I think it's a Johnson, which is a good brand, and it has this round screw head to tighten it down. I cannot, and I've had a couple of these. This is endemic and common to modern production bevel gauges. And I want a bevel gauge so I can get these angles replicated on the saw as easily as possible. Could you get away without this? Yes, absolutely. I find it makes it easier, and it's the more exact it is here in the build, the less fairing and sanding we have to do later to get everything faired up and true. Anyhow, back to this bevel gauge. You can buy a wing nut and get rid of this round nut that's kind of hard to clamp down, and you can get more pressure with a wing nut. And I was doing some research because this has been frustrating me for a while, and if you go out there, guys talk about the vintage Stanley number 18, number 18. And I saw one of these on eBay and I grabbed it. And the deal with these is, first of all, the little tightening clamp handle is right down on the butt. And so it doesn't get in the way. This one doesn't get in the way either. Some of them have a bigger protrusion, which I find to be a pain in the butt. This, I think, could have been slightly better designed. When you actually turn it, the handle protrudes past the edge of this, so it knocks the table as you're clamping it down. But what's beautiful about the Stanley number 18, and you can find them on eBay, they're depending on the quality, in the $30 to $60 range, and that's a lot of money, but it really solves the issue. This mechanism apparently applies tension and pressure in a clamping sense as opposed to just a friction sense, and it's an actual mechanism. Now, this is just what I've read. I've never taken one of these apart and actually seen it. But I can tell you this, when I was using this vintage one, and this is my first project using the vintage one, which I bought a while ago, I'm picking this up, taking it down, moving it around, moving it to the saw, moving it back, and it seems not to have moved one iota. And I am checking it to see if it keeps the angle every time I use it, and it seems to be so. So this is really nice. Because it allows me to build up this frame, alleviating one of the hassles. So anyhow, check that out, the Stanley number 18 bevel gauge. The one other shop note that I want to discuss in this interim video is scribing these lines. I have an issue. I am addicted to writing utensils of all sorts. I collect fountain pens, mechanical pencils, and I am constantly trying to find that dream pencil for the woodworking shop. And here I'm experimenting with a Fat Boy pencil, which I like. But I've been playing with this Dixon Reach, and this has a couple of cool features. First of all, you'll notice the long, narrow neck, elongated neck. And what that's used for is if you need to mark a piece on layout, let's say I pre-drilled holes here, you can extend that long, narrow neck through the pre-drilled hole and mark a workpiece beneath it to match the holes up. So that's really nice. Secondly, this end cap pops off, and I'm going to see if I can do it one-handed. I'm not using a tripod. This is handheld right now. You just kind of turn it. There's a groove, and it's got a built-in sharpener, which is really nice because this thing has fairly soft lead. So when it's sharp, it lays down a really nice line on my work surface. I wish the lead were a little harder and I didn't have to sharpen it so frequently. And I will say that the sharpener is great and the lead works well with it, and it sharpens like a dream with just a couple twists. It's really not a big deal, but wouldn't it be nice not to have to sharpen as frequently as possible? And this is the old problem with pencil leads. They're too soft, or they're too hard and they chip and they crack and they break, or they're too soft and they dull quickly. It's a hard compromise, and I have not found the perfect one, but I'm using these two pencils. I would say when I used a carpenter pencil the first time I tried to build a frame and lay down those lines, the carpenter's pencil is nice, it doesn't roll off your work surface, but the lines just weren't precise enough. And again, my goal here is to get it fairly precise, exhibit the patience, do it right, and have less sanding to do when it comes time to fairing by getting the measurements so close to spot on as the plans call for, even when using soft wood, pliable wood. So anyhow, that's my quick shop notes interim video. I will check in with you a little bit later in the build. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.